Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Whitney, and today we're going to be talking about all the series that I'm currently reading. I've seen several booktubers do this, and I found it quite interesting to see all the series that they're reading and whether they want to continue with the series or not. So I thought I'd do the same. So let's get right into it. So the first series that I'm going to talk about is the Poirot series by Agatha Christie. This follows Poirot, who is a detective, and he solves mysteries and crimes. So I am currently on the fourth book. This is the third, but I'm currently on the fourth book, and I'm definitely going to continue the series. I love how full of himself he is, and I love that he's always right, and I love Poirot. And so, honestly, besides And Then There Were None, it's the only Agatha Christie books that I've read. I haven't read her Miss Marple series or any of her other series, and so I kind of want to just finish the whole series and then move on to her other famous characters. So this is the first series that I'm currently reading, and I will definitely continue with this series. The second series that I'm currently reading is the Lunar Chronicles. This is the second book in the Lunar Chronicles series, and I just finished this in February, so I'll be continuing on with the series in March. But the Lunar Chronicles, it follows different characters each book. The first one is Cinder, and it's basically a fairy tale retelling with a sci-fi twist of Cinderella. And Scarlet is Little Red Riding Hood. And then Cress, I believe, the next one is about Rapunzel. These are pretty good. I'm reading them for my daughter, but I am enjoying my ride as I go, and I'll definitely be continuing them because my daughter wants me to. And so I'm a book ahead of her, and so I'll continue reading them solely for the fact that I'm pre-reading them for her. If I wasn't, I might pick up the series, but it definitely wouldn't be high on my list. I have no desire to get to the books quickly outside of the fact that my daughter's so pumped about them. So this is another series that I will be continuing. The next series that I'm reading is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I just completed book 4 and it put me in a reading slump. I really enjoyed books 1 through 3, and so I was really disappointed. I'd heard bad things, but a lot of times I'm thinking, maybe I'll like it. I did not, which is unfortunate. I just want to there's one book left, so I just want to finish the series. It's a sci-fi, but it's also absurdism, kind of. It's just kind of ridiculous. The first book had me laughing out loud, and this book, I was just like, are we done yet? So I don't have a huge desire to pick up book 5 and finish the series. But I just don't like leaving series dangling, even if I'm not really enjoying it a lot. I guess it's just a character flaw, but I like to finish series if I start them. So we'll see. Maybe I'll read the 5th one. Maybe I won't. Maybe it will be on my TBR forever. I don't know. Okay, I'm caught up on this next series. The next series is the Inspector Gamache series. It is one of my favorite series of all time. I love the way Louise Penny writes her characters. I love the setting of Three Pines. Every time I open up one of her books, it feels like going home and being reunited with some of my best friends. And I will definitely be continuing. As many books as Louise Penny writes in the series, I will read. There's no way that I'm not going to continue on with that series. It's definitely one of my favorites of all time. So the Inspector Gamache series follows a older gentleman who is a detective in Canada, and he has to solve crimes. Obviously, it's a detective series, but the thing that I love most about it, obviously, are not the crimes. It's just the characters. They're just so good. They're flawed, but they're real and they're human, and I could just go on and on about the characters, but I won't because I've said it 15,000 times. I apologize. All right, the next series I'm also currently caught up on is Keepers of the Lost Cities. This is a series that my daughter got me into, and I really enjoyed every book in this series. I just finished the last installment, Stellar Loon, and Shannon Messenger has said that there will be one more book in the series, a 10th book, and it's going to be coming out, I think, in 2024. So I'm caught up on this series for now, but I will definitely finish out the series because I have loved getting to follow Sophie and her journey as she has grown and aged, and it's just been a lot of fun. Okay, this series follows Sophie, who's a young girl. She lives in a large city, and she realizes that she's a telepath, and so that's a struggle because, you know, if you live in a large city, people are walking by you day in and day out, and so she's reading all of their thoughts, and it's just a struggle. So she's had to learn how not to do that. Then a boy comes along who has the same ability, and she realizes that maybe there is a place for her, and maybe this thing that she has struggled with her whole life is not necessarily a downfall, maybe it's a gift. And so her character arc has been great. She's grown a lot, and I've enjoyed reading, so I'll definitely continue with this series. The next series I've started is the Winter House Trilogy by Ben Guterson. So this is a middle grade urban fantasy trilogy. It follows an orphan, Elizabeth, and she lives with her aunt and uncle, but they are going on vacation, and so they send her to the Winter House to stay, and it's this grand hotel, but she doesn't really know what to expect. And when she gets there, there are all of these quirky little characters and mysteries and puzzles and a huge, vast library, which she loves. And the longer she stays there, the more she suspects that she is somehow really intertwined with Winter House and the owner, Norbert. This book, it sounds like it would be right up my alley, you know. Book references, puzzles. It's like a quirky little hotel with all of these cozy little things. It sounds like it could be really whimsical and really just right up my alley, something I would really like. It was just okay for me. It started out really strong, but then it got kind of boring in the middle, and some things fell flat for me. And when I got to the end of the book, I was like, I don't know if I even want to continue, which is really just kind of sad because, like I said, it sounds like it's right up my alley. I don't know. It was just okay for me, and I have read too many okay books already in the year of 2023, and I don't want to continue reading okay books. So I probably will not be continuing on in that series. The next series I am currently reading is The Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. I just finished up The Way of Kings in January, and I loved it so much. This story follows two characters mainly. Kaladin, who is a slave, and Dalinar, who is a Bright Lord. And you get a lot of different other perspectives. There are tons of characters in this book, and so when I was first starting it, it was a little bit difficult to remember all of the characters, and so it took me a chunk before I was fully invested, but once I was hooked. But so Kaladin is a young man who was supposed to go into the medical field, but he chose to go to the war instead to protect his younger brother, and he becomes a swordsman, and he is an amazing swordsman, but he falls into slavery. He's captured and he falls into slavery, and he has to lead a team of basically people that nobody else wants to do, like the bridge crew, to put out the bridges so the other warriors can go fight the enemy. And he does the best he can, and he does a really phenomenal job. But the other story is Dalinar, who is the Bright Lord, and he is kind of like in charge below the king. It's like him, and he starts to have these visions, and when he has these visions, he blanks out. Then he comes to, and it's always during these storms, and so people are like, is he really a good leader? And so he's trying to figure out if he's going to give up his position for his son to come. And then towards the end, Dalinar and Kaladin meet up, and it's just a wonderful start to what I know is going to be a great series. I loved Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn series. I loved his Mistborn Era 2 series. I've loved his Skyward series. I've loved all of the series that I've read by him, and so I know that I'm going to love this series as well. It's an epic fantasy, so I will definitely be continuing on with this series. My goal is to read the second book in March, but if I don't get to it, it will definitely be read in April. So this is one that I'm for sure going to finish and continue on with. The next series that I am currently reading is the Greystone Series by Margaret Haddix, I believe. This follows 3 siblings who think they lead a normal life. It's just them and their mom. And then one day they're watching the news and 3 children have gotten abducted, and they all share their first and middle names. The only thing different is they have a different last name, and they're all siblings, and they all have their same birthdays. So before they can even ask their mom what is going on, she takes off on a mysterious work trip and leaves them in the care of her neighbor, and she can't be gotten a hold of. They keep trying to contact her, and she's not returning their calls. So they keep finding clues to be like, okay, maybe not is all as it seems. And so as they're following the clues, they're trying to solve this puzzle, and it's just they discover things about their mom that they never knew and about themselves. And it was an interesting book. I enjoyed the first one a lot, actually, and I picked up the second one, and the second one I just did not like as much. And there are only 3 in the series, so I probably will not continue this series as well, because the second one fell so flat for me. It was just not nearly as good as the first, and I really honestly did not have any desire to see the outcome and how the author tied up the story. So I will not be continuing that one probably. Okay, so the next book I'm reading is Skin of the Sea, and this follows Simi, who is a Mami Wata, and she is a mermaid, and her job is to take the people who die at sea and help them on their journey. And so one day, as she's, swimming in the ocean, a living boy falls overboard, and she is supposed to leave him. She's not supposed to go anywhere near people that are alive, but she doesn't. For some reason, she goes and she saves this young boy's life. And so because she has done this, she has to make amends. And so she has to journey to the place where she is supposed to make amends with this young boy. And so, of course, danger infalls, and their story, it's a tough story, but it's a good story. And I really enjoyed this book. I liked it a lot. I didn't even realize that it was actually a part of a series, because the ending wrapped up nicely for me. I felt like I didn't need any more of the story going forward. I felt like I got what I needed from the characters, and I didn't even realize there was a second book. So I probably will not be continuing on with this, just because I enjoyed this one so much. I got the ending was fine for me. It didn't leave me wanting more. And I don't want to mess it up in case I don't like the second book. So I probably won't continue on with the series. But I did really enjoy this first book. All right, the next series that I'm currently reading is Spy Family. It is a manga, which I don't normally read a lot of manga, just because I'm a little leery of the content. I don't know what I will... I don't know. I need some good suggestions, I guess. I don't know what I would enjoy in a manga. But this one, I really did enjoy. It follows a spy, and for his mission, he has to be married. And so he marries an assassin, but he doesn't realize that he's married an assassin. And they adopt a little girl who is a telepath, so she can read the thoughts of both the spy and the assassin. And so it's just... I really enjoyed this first volume. The artwork is great. The storyline was wonderful, and I will definitely be continuing on with this series. Okay, so the next series that I'm reading is the Tita Rosa's, I think Kitchen Mystery, I think is what it's called, series by Mia. Oh gosh, I'm going to butcher her name because I'm so bad at pronouncing things. Manansala, I think is how you pronounce it. I really enjoyed the first 2 books that I read in this series. The first one was Arsenic and Adobo, and the second was Homicide and Halo Halo. I just have never really desired to pick up another. If I get it at the library, sure. If I don't, fine. I'm just kind of meh about continuing. But I did enjoy the two books I did read. So this series is kind of like maybe a cozy mystery. I'm not really sure. I don't read a lot of cozy mysteries, so I don't know if it's a cozy mystery or not, to be honest with you. But it follows a girl, Leela, who comes home after a breakup and helps out in her aunt's kitchen. And she thinks, it's okay. She's having to deal with her life back home. Well, all of a sudden, the food critic, who happens to be her ex-boyfriend, drops dead. And her aunt is accused of poisoning him. And so her life kind of turns into a mystery novel. And she has to figure out who did it because, I guess she doesn't think that the police are taking her seriously. So, of course, she's gathers her friends and they try to figure out who killed this food critic. And it was enjoyable. I love the way that she wrote about food and I love the characters, but again, it's not something that I'm dying to pick up the next installment. So I may continue this one and I may not. Okay, so the next series that I'm reading is Dune, and I most definitely will not be continuing on with this series. I read Dune because it's supposed to be like a classic sci-fi and everyone loves this, and it was being turned into a movie, and my husband wanted to watch the movie, and I'm the type of person who's like, if there's a book, I want to read it first. My gosh, I kind of wish I hadn't read it. It was a slog. It was so boring to me in a lot of places. And so this is my cousin's favorite book, and he loves this book. And so he was visiting over the summer, and I had to get tickled because he was loving this book and I was hating it. And so we were just kind of, bickering, I guess. Not bickering, just debating its qualities back and forth. And it was fun to debate, but my goodness, it was not fun to read. It was a slog, and there was like a whole chapter on a dinner party, and it was just, it was tough for me. So basically, this story is set on a desert planet. It follows a young boy, Paul, who is in a noble family, and his family is in charge of ruling this planet, and the only thing of value on this planet really is spice, and it's like a drug that makes you live longer. And then his house and his family are betrayed, and so this makes Paul have to journey to another planet, and it just sets in motion all of these things that change his life. But I just don't understand the hype. Like, I really don't. It's a slog. I do not recommend it. I don't understand. And I didn't even end up watching the movie. My husband did. I don't even know if he enjoyed it. My sister-in-law said that she could see why I didn't like the book because the movie was just as boring. And apparently the movie is just the first half of the book. I feel like I'm ranty a little bit, and I'm sorry. So I'm going to calm myself down. I'm not going to continue the series. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, a series that I will most definitely continue is Anne of Green Gables. My daughter and I are reading this through together. We're on book 3. Obviously, this is a reread for me, but I have so loved reading these books with my daughter, and I am definitely going to continue. We are getting ready to go on a trip that is several hours away, so we've already got the audio downloaded to my phone that we're going to listen to because we've got several hours in the car, so why not? So this is obviously a classic. It follows Anne, who is an orphan who goes to live with Marilla and Matthew on Prince Edward Island, and it just follows her life, and she's so whimsical and she's so lovely, and I just love Anne, and I'm excited to read the next installment fairly quickly with my daughter. Okay, the final series that I'm reading is Lightfall by Tim Probert, and this is a graphic novel. The pictures are really cute. I really enjoy when I read graphic novels, I really enjoy them for the most part. I like the medium for sure. I just don't read a lot of them, but this one is a series. The third one is coming out soon, I think. So Lightfall follows Bee and Cad, and she is the granddaughter to the pig wizard, and this is a Galdurian Cad is the only one left of his kind, and he knows that his family's out there somewhere. He just doesn't know where, and so Bee and Cad team up, and they go to the Pig Wizard to see where, because if anyone knows where his family is, it's going to be the Pig Wizard. So the Pig Wizard is missing, and Bee and Cad set out to find him because they fear the worst. They fear that something bad has happened to them, or to him, and so they journey to find him. I've read the first and second series in this book, and it's a quick read. There's not much text on the pages, but the artwork is lovely, and I will definitely be continuing with this series. My daughter enjoyed this series. Like, look, there's all sorts of different artwork. So I will definitely be continuing on with this series. Okay, so that's it. Those are all the series I'm reading. Most I'll probably continue on. Some I'm iffy about, and there are some, Dune, that I know that I will not continue on. What are some of your favorite series? I'd love to know in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.